Hello, thank you for subscribing to my email list. I wanted to take a few minutes and just introduce myself, tell you a little bit about my background and what led me to start my own home based business with Arbonne. My name is Amy Wynn, and I spent most of my life as a musician. I have 2 degrees in music, piano performance to be more specific. And after finishing school, after graduating with my second degree, I spent about 7.5 years working as a professional musician. I was working as a professional pianist. And I loved it. I loved what I did. I loved playing. I loved performing. Um, as with any job, of course, there were frustrations that came along with it. And as a performer, there were certainly periods that were very high stress. But overall, I really enjoyed what I did. But when my daughter was born, I decided to take an indefinite leave of absence. I was working freelance, I was working for myself, and so I was at liberty to do that. I was at liberty to walk away and not really have a specific return date set. So the other thing that I want to mention that's somewhat pertinent to my story is the fact that about 4 years ago, I had a relatively significant health scare. And I won't go into a lot of detail here, but fortunately, once it was determined what was causing the problems, it was a very easy solution. And it was something that I was able to overcome very quickly and have not really had any repercussions from it. But because of that, I became very interested in nutrition and health and wellness. And I became very passionate about living as healthy and as clean a life as possible. I really wanted to do everything within my power on a day-to-day basis to be as healthy as I possibly could in order to prevent something like that from ever happening to me again. So that's the other thing. So very shortly after I quit work as a musician and was at home with my daughter, I realized a couple of things. The first was that I really didn't foresee myself being ready to go back to work in the near future. I was very much enjoying being at home. I wanted to be at home. I wanted to be present as my daughter was growing up. But the other thing I realized was that if I didn't start bringing in income to help out the family, we were going to be in some financial trouble and not too terribly long. It wasn't going to take too terribly long for us to start finding ourselves in debt. And I really, really didn't want to see that happen. So I started thinking about what I could do. What can I do to bring in income while being at home and while being present with my daughter? And right around the time that my daughter turned 1, a good friend of mine introduced me to Arbonne. I had never heard of Arbonne. I didn't know anything about the business or the company. But after doing my research and after educating myself about both the company and the business, I realized that this was exactly what I had been looking for. And I jumped in with both feet. And I will say that this is a business that has allowed me to bring in income to help my family. It has the potential for you to bring in a very substantial income. And the other thing that has been amazing about this business is it truly is a business that I work into my life. I fit Arbonne into the cracks and crevices of my life instead of having to schedule my life around the business, which if I were to go back to work as a musician, that's exactly what I would be doing. I would be scheduling my life around performances and rehearsals and practices and things like that. And I didn't want to have to do that. And I don't have to do that with Arbonne. I truly do fit Arbonne into my life. I fit it in when it works for me. And the last thing that was really just kind of a bonus for me was that the ethics and the standards that Arbonne upholds when it comes to health and wellness are just absolutely unmatched. And so the fact that I could work, I could bring in income, it was something that would allow me to stay at home with my daughter. And it was something related to an issue that I'm very passionate about. It was just the icing on the cake. And it has really been such a blessing to me in so many different ways, both expected and unexpected. And so that's a little bit about me, and that's why I'm here.